I'm Edmund Sides, and I'm pleased to announce an exciting new initiative which will be of interest to those involved in the assessment and analysis of mineral projects and national mineral inventories. This short video introduces a proposal to update the McKelvey box to provide a framework which is more relevant to addressing challenges such as critical minerals supply issues and the increasing use of artificial intelligence in minerals estimation and reporting. You may be wondering why you've not heard of this before. This is because those involved wanted to secure the intellectual property rights to some innovative new ideas before making the details more widely available. I've been given permission today to provide a taster on what the AMLUC frame is about, and a feedback form is provided at the end of this presentation where you can find out more about this initiative. I must stress that this video gives my personal understanding and opinion on the AMLUC frame and does not represent the views of CRISCO or PERC, the two professional organizations that I'm associated with. So what is the McKelvey box? It's a simple framework that was developed for use by the United States Geological Survey in the early 1970s. It was based on categorizing mineral estimates using three criteria. Firstly, on the horizontal axis, the degree of knowledge about the mineralization, ranging from as yet undiscovered deposits and mineral districts on the right to discovered and defined deposits on the left. And secondly, on the vertical axis, the degree of economic viability associated with the mineralization, ranging from uneconomic or sub-economic at the bottom to economically recoverable at the top. McKelvey proposed four general categories as shown on the figure. To avoid confusion, it should be noted the green box labeled reserves would include both mineral resources and mineral reserves as used for CRISCO-aligned reporting. Moving on to the proposed AMLUC frame. To start with, one of the main changes is a proposed relabeling and slight reorganization of the axes. The horizontal axis is referred to as the visibility axis, ranging from invisible on the left to visible on the right. The horizontal axis has also been switched in direction compared to the McKelvey box, which has undiscovered to the right rather than the left. Since most project timelines are shown with increasing time towards the right, this would correspond with the normal progress of a project from exploration concept on the left to operating mine on the right, which seems to me a more logical approach. The vertical axis is referred to as the plausibility axis, ranging from implausible at the bottom to plausible at the top. So far, this is all relatively simple. So where do the original ideas come in? Well, this is regarding the use of quantitative measures to provide positions along the two axes for estimates at any stage of a project's development. Essentially, these would be X and Y coordinates in what I term AMLUC space. Here, the working group reasoned that a ratio scale is needed rather than a simple categorical or ordinal measurement scale. Initially, they considered a normalized measurement scale ranging from -1 at one end to +1 at the other end. However, they realized that a non-conventional approach is needed to deal with the increasing complexity of minerals reporting, such as the varied definitions of critical minerals and the application of artificial intelligence. To address such issues, they propose using an approach based on complex numbers. Hence, instead of going from -1 to +1, each axis would go from the square root of -1 to the square root of +1. And using the common convention of representing the square root of -1 as I, each axis would go from I to 1. Personally, I've never understood complex numbers, so I can't explain the details behind this idea. However, I believe that this is essentially the same approach used for Mandelbrot sets, which allow the representation of a high degree of complexity in a mathematical manner. However, the use of complex numbers in a 2D plane is not the real innovation behind the group's proposal. In fact, they suggest that a third axis needs to be introduced to handle the quantification of the use of artificial intelligence in developing mineral estimates. This was explained as follows. The McKelvey box is a relatively simple construct based mainly on simple human reasoning, so it is considered as representing the human intelligence reference plane. On the other hand, the basic AMLUC frame uses complex quantitative measures and is considered to represent the artificial intelligence reference plane. However, we will commonly have estimates that are neither entirely human nor entirely artificial, and hence a quantitative measure to handle estimates that fall somewhere between the two is needed. For this, the group have suggested the use of quaternions, which are widely used for the calculation of rotations in 3 dimensions. As you can see, this would allow very complex patterns to be represented on any of the intermediate planes between the human intelligence and the artificial intelligence planes. Incidentally, quaternions were first described by the Irish mathematician William Rowan Hamilton in 1843. I've not been given full details about how the AMLUC frame's quaternion approach would work, but my understanding is that you could use this to track a project with time in a multi-dimensional factorial space. Please note this disclaimer, which makes clear that I'm responsible for any mistakes in explaining the details of the AMLUC frame. These QR codes provide links to more information. The one on the left provides a link to more background information on this video. The one on the right provides a link to a feedback form where you can register your interest in being involved more and finding out more about the initiative. The feedback form also contains some further information about AMLUC and the members of the working group who developed the AMLUC frame concept.